introductions, and yeah, we have a larger section today. Thankfully, Christine's going to go through some very topical content, so I think that would be of use to so many of our people tuning in today. Sure, everyone. Okay, I think we'll get started. Thanks for tuning in to the penultimate webinar for the year. So we only have one more in November, and then that's it for 2021. And it's kind of surreal to think how fast this year's flown by. I'm wearing a beanie today because my hair's getting out of control, and being in lockdown, the first thing I'm going to do when we get out into level 2 is go to my barber and get a haircut because, missing the getting out and about a bit. But yeah, it's good to see everyone still regularly tuning in, and we do have quite a comprehensive content to go through, especially around new commerce experience and licensing, which Christine will be recalling for us today. But to start off, I'll just hand it over to Ken Wong, who will walk through some really exciting training opportunities and partner enablement offerings. So Ken, if you're able to share your screen.
Absolutely. I hope I'm coming through fine.
Yeah, all good, mate.
Perfect. So I'm just going to share my screen now. So honestly, today, guys, I just have one quick offer to share because I think that everybody should know about this because it's some real exciting training that we're giving out to our partner channel, and honestly, yeah, it's really focused on trying to drive a lot more certifications to support you guys, in the times that we are in today. So what we have delivered alongside our learning partners ACE training is actually a free number of courses around AZ 010, 020, and 030. And these include the official e-learning modules, the Microsoft courseware, which come from the Courseware Marketplace. So it's all the official courseware, exam prep, as well as an exam voucher. And we're offering this completely for free across the next month, which is starting in November, essentially. So to give you a bit more context in terms of this, if you click on one of these links, for example, 1 second, let me just bring up the thing here. It brings you into this page here where you can kind of see which kind of different content and subjects that each of these modules cover. So the way we've designed it is that there are these 3 different courses that's aligned towards DevOps, architects, and I can't remember the last one at the moment, but I think it was Systems Ops, I believe. And we have actually set it up for 2 to 4 sessions, depending on what you are sitting for. So in this particular case, for the AWS developers, these ones will cover these particular modules, with the last day covering the exam prep for your certification. And each of these modules lasts 3 hours on any of these days that you can choose. So for example, we've made it so that it covers a large array of different times. So you can take it anywhere from 9 a.m. in New Zealand, or you can start it late at 4:30 in New Zealand time zones. And you can have that for the first session. The second section can be any of these particular times it's available to you. And like I said, right, we've put a lot of different times and dates here just so that everybody has a chance to participate on this. Now, probably something I should have mentioned at the beginning is all of the training here that you see is really about how can you translate AWS skills into Azure today. Because what we're finding in the market is that it's obviously a bit of a resource shortage where there's a lot of technical skills in demand at the moment. But, there's a lot of there's a bit of a shortage there, and what we're trying to address here is helping drive, and helping kind of cross skill across the different clouds. So if you have an Azure, so if you have an AWS expert today within your organization that you would like them to know more about Azure and help them, get on board on the different technologies that we work with, this is the session for them, right? And the commitment here, it's not too much. It's anywhere from 6 hours to 12 hours for the long modules. And like I said, it's really encompassing all the different roles that are currently available. So just kind of going back to this real quickly. Once you've signed up for this and you've chosen your time, so you can click register here. And you can click register now, where it will ask and it'll bring up a screen where you put in your details, such as your name, organization name, and email. And you'll be given a confirmation email just to ensure that you're booked in for that date. And this is available for you. Yeah, and this will be going on for the entire month of November. I'll put these links in the chat after I'm done with this section. And any questions, if you guys have, feel free to just shoot them out at me. But yeah, once again, it's a great opportunity, and we're running this for free, for our partner channel in New Zealand as well. And if that's everything, I think it's just back over to you, Isaac.
Thanks so much, Ken. And yes, I will. You would have seen a post I made on Yammer about this previously, where it was $150. So I will update that with the new with the new offering and it being free and that. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, yeah, well, there's one quick thing about that. Thanks for reminding me. Anybody who has paid $150 for this, I just want to say, because we've made it free, we're giving back refunds to anybody who has signed up for this and has paid the bill for it, basically. So if you have paid for it, just be on the lookout. We'll be sending those refunds back to you guys because, like I said, we're offering this completely free for our New Zealand partner channel.
Cool. Thanks so much, Ken. Cheers for tuning in, Paul. I'll just hand it over to you to talk about the assessment summary, if that's okay.
Thanks so much, Isaac, and apologies I'm a little bit late. Good to see lots of people on the call today. So guys, we announced on Yammer a few weeks ago that we were running a solution assessment briefing. Actually, our colleagues in Australia were running that for us, and unfortunately at the time, due to time zone changes, we got the time wrong. So for those of you that did try to join the call, apologies that you weren't able to, but we have got the recording of it and I've posted that on the Yammer site. But what I wanted to do was just do a very high level summary. There's a couple of changes this year. For those that were familiar with solution assessments last year, we've just kind of tweaked it a bit and the tooling is a little bit different. So I'm just going to quickly go through that right now. I won't spend too much time on it. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And the other thing just to call out, if you aren't across solution assessments, I really recommend looking into them. I'll go through the kind of steps in the process in here, but highly recommend looking at the more detailed tooling stuff. For those that were on the call, was it last month, Isaac, or the month before, we had Block 64, I think, speaking anyway. So hopefully most of you saw that. If you didn't, you can see the replay of that on Yammer as well to go through the Block 64 tooling. So solution assessments, guys, are essentially a set of tools that we use either both from Microsoft first-party tooling or third-party tooling. So the common first-party one is Azure Migrate. And of course we acquired MoveAir, and we have a number of third-party tools as well that we use. So in the SMB space, they have tended to be our CSAT, the cybersecurity assessment tool, and the Block 64 tooling. But we do have, for larger size environments and customers, we have a variety of different tooling that comes from us or third parties that can help do a number of different audits and assessments of a customer's environment, right from core infrastructure through to security, all the productivity stuff, third-party software analysis, networking, and then migration assessments as well. So how do you move an app from an on-prem environment into a PaaS service and those kind of things? So lots of different things. You can see here a couple of high-level stats. I would hope that it's pretty self-explanatory. If we do our sort of best of breed assessments for a customer, it helps the customer understand and you understand a customer's environment in a lot greater detail, but it gives some very, very good recommendations on how the customer can start making the move to the cloud, no matter what area of their IT estate they're looking at. Now, so for New Zealand, going forward this year, to make it a little bit more straightforward, we kind of just basically said, look, we're doing Block 64 for everyone in SMB. This year, we've kind of changed that. We're going to open it up a bit more. Partly we can do that because we've now got the Australian team to lean in on, which is great. And so the first qualification question when you think about, do you want to use an assessment tool for a customer is, do they have more than 150 users or more than 20 servers? And the reason why is we have what we're calling the light model on the left-hand side. So if they're below that, we will give you access to, and we will help run the Block 64 tool set, which is the one we've historically done for all SMB accounts. If you're bigger than that, then we recognize that that is possibly something that needs some more advanced tooling or different kind of tooling for. And we will use our assessment desk team, which is across New Zealand and Australia. So some of you will know Suzette. Suzette and some of her colleagues in New Zealand, plus the Australian team, run the assessment desk. And the assessment desk will actually do a much more full-blown assessment. So the solution assessment desk here, just a quick summary on that, full end-to-end assessment. So they will engage with the customer with you. They will do all the data collection, they'll do the analysis, and they'll provide all of the outputs and outcomes working with you to the customer. We can do that if you want just with you without engaging the customer, but this is for a full set of tooling. And then the other option for those that aren't across Block 64, we do these assessments here using the Block 64 tooling. So we look at data footprints, network activity now, which is new, their hardware footprint across server devices, etc., security gaps, what cloud services do they use, what software licensing do they have on-prem, those kinds of things. And in fact, actually, I think this one, you're probably familiar with this before if you've seen us talk about assessments before. These are the kind of data points that we gather. So Azure AD, or excuse me, AD on-prem, directory information, metering data of software, tenant information for Office 365, installed software, and so on and so forth. I won't kind of read through all of it right now. And so if most of our assessments in New Zealand, because we're an SMB country, tend to be below 150 seats. And so most often it will be the Block 64 tooling. Now, when we do this, this goes out to our tele agency, and the tele agency will actually help you to run that. So we already have a few of these running today. It works like it used to pretty much. They can just give you the keys or give you access to the Block 64 licensing to go install, or they can work with the customer. Either or. You can see there's kind of a few steps in the process just here. And to help this process this year, we've introduced, and this is my last slide here because I don't want to spend too much time on this today, we've introduced a form. So super straightforward. We did have people filling out a Word document and sending it to an email address, which was pretty old school. So we've digitally transformed our process, and you can now go to our assessment form. If you try this link right now, it won't work. I've just created it. The form is just been finished. And this is what the form looks like. I won't go through all of it, but we would like you to just drop in some details. Just take you a couple of minutes to complete this. And the reason why is we're using routing on the form. So if it's below, you'll see here, we're asking you industry, solution area, etc., etc. And if it is below 150 seats or 20 servers, yes or no option here, that will dictate where we route this to. Okay, so that's the primary reason that we're doing this. And so if it's less than that, you'll go down the Block 64 route. If it's more than the thresholds there, you'll go to the Solution Assessment Desk team. So yeah, just a couple of little pieces of information we need to capture about the customer, industry, product workload, of course, the estimated revenue, start date, end dates, and a bit of a description here. This will help us, particularly for a larger opportunity, to look at what tooling is required, and then when we would get started as well. And just a little bit here, like we do have some cases where we have a licensing partner will just want to do it, but they're not the deployment partner, so we're just keen to understand that. Yeah, and that's about it. So with that, I am going to pass back to Isaac, but just a refresher, this is the form, and I will drop the link in the chat, and the link will be live hopefully in 24 hours, and you'll be able to go and use that. And I'll pop this into the Yammer conversation on solution assessments as well. Thank you,
Thanks,
Isaac.
Paul.
Thanks
We have
all.
two questions, if you don't mind.
Oh, right.
answering.
Sorry, I was looking at my screen there.
Okay.
Time frame, yeah, Kath, thanks for the question. There isn't a direct time frame. In fact, you may have just noticed in the form I've actually put, is it urgent? Sometimes we get situations where the customer's servers are blown up and they're suddenly like, holy crap, we need to move quickly. And so we'll try our best. It does depend simply on workload. We have to get license keys from the tooling, and then we have to obviously have availability of people to support running it. Typically, though, it's a kind of a week, 2 week kind of step if it's a block 64 one. And then Jono, would this replace or add to raising co-sell? Jono, if it's a corporate enterprise customer, co-sell and logging deals and partners is absolutely the way to go forward. The SMB kind of process is using the form that we've got here to make it simpler. We did investigate pushing you all to partner center log deals. We won't do that just at this time.
Cool. Thank you so
Thanks
much,
for the
Paul.
questions.
I'll now hand it over to Christine, who will talk about everything new commerce. Oh, you're on mute, Christine. Sorry.
All right.
All good.
You just want me to present in Teams again?
Whatever works for you.
Whatever works for me, yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you can just share your desktop if you want, Christine, with the PowerPoint, or
It's common.
while Christine's doing that, for those that don't know, Christine is our head of commercial licensing across Australia and New Zealand now. She's picked up New Zealand as part of her remit. And Christine and I have been working closely together on new CSP things. Of course, last month, I covered the new commerce experience at a high level. Christine has kindly offered to spend a bit more time going into this. So thank you, Christine. I'll pass back to you.
Paul. Yeah, so today I will cover some of the changes to CSP New Commerce with the seat-based offers, and some of it may be repetitive information, but I'm also going to take a step back and provide, clapping, thank you, provide insights into really Microsoft's strategy and vision and why we're transforming to the new commerce experience. Now, we do have a special launch webinar with live Q&A covering seat-based offers. That was scheduled for the 28th of October, which is tomorrow. However, it's been rescheduled to the 16th of November. So we'll share updated details on that webinar as well. But really encourage you to register and attend. This will be the opportunity for you to ask the questions and be the voice of the partner. We may not know all the answers to your questions today. I'm also going to touch on open license program retirement and also new Azure plan, time permitting. So keep me honest, Isaac. Okay, so to begin with the strategy. So Microsoft since day dot has been committed to supporting really every organisation with their digital transformation journey. So we invest not just in technology, but also examining the end-to-end customer and partner journey from purchasing the technology to the support experience. And as a company, we ourselves also need to transform, and that means transforming our commerce experience. It is a multi-year investment that once fully realised is to really to create a consistent and simplified purchasing experience for customers, enabling them to digitally transform. So with greater flexibility in how and where they buy, we actually started this back in 2019 with Azure, and we'll continue to evolve the new commerce experience over the next few years. For our customers, we'll deliver a commerce experience that enables them to realize value faster with Microsoft investments, with the flexibility, control, cost management, and security they require. It will expand partner opportunity with customers of all sizes, no matter how customers purchase, providing our partners with additional opportunities. So really bringing in their expertise, that services and solutions to drive that customer success. It will reduce licensing complexity and costs that we all experience today. And finally, for our Microsoft sellers, a more connected commerce experience with customers and partners, supporting partner co-sell opportunities and solution selling. Administrative tasks that will be reduced that we experience today, really simplifying our commerce processes and increasing deal velocity. So that's the strategy. And the reason why we're doing this is it's good for our customers. You know, our traditional licensing programs were designed for on-premises, for selling on-prem software to enterprises, which made perfect sense for many years, but has really led to a complex environment with different licensing programs supporting different offerings. Now we have legacy agreements that were designed for on-prem software, and with the introduction of online services, we really retrofit the purchase under these agreements, which has resulted in a clunky and complex experience for the customer. You know, it's frustrating for our customers, having to sign different agreements for different programs. It also frustrates our partners and Microsoft as well. And so this complexity also increases our own costs, as it takes time, effort, and a lot of specialized people who navigate through our licensing programs. You know, and then when we create new offers today, we have to launch each offer for the different volume license programs. And today, when we're selling cloud services rather than on-prem software, we want simplicity. So really, you know, we are moving from or rather than a program-centric business model, we need to move to a simpler offer-centric model. And this is exactly what our new commerce model will provide. Ultimately, we're going to be moving from a program state to a program-less state, and there won't be any volume licensing programs anymore sometime in the future. And as we develop the new commerce experience, we're going to live in these two worlds for a while as it evolves. Now, each of these purchasing motions you see here, so we have breadth, enterprise, and self-service, are all underpinned by the one agreement, the MCA or Microsoft Customer Agreement. It's evergreen and digital. And I don't know if you've seen this slide before, and I wanted to drill into the three purchasing motions under new commerce again. And I've left off self-service off this particular slide, but it is the third purchasing motion where individuals or departments within organizations simply purchase from the web with a credit card. And our self-service is only on new commerce platform in the US at the moment, but we will be rolling out to regions once engineering presses the green button. So on the left here, we have breadth motion, so CSP, reaching out to our partner space and using them as an extension of our sales force. Negotiation and contract transacting is direct between partner and customer. And as at the 14th of October, we now have all three clouds available on new commerce CSP. And as we bring in these offers, we implement a phased approach to retire the legacy offers. And now you will know that we have been doing this with Azure for a while, and we'll be entering phase 2 in February for Azure, which we'll also cover today as well. Now, the breadth motion is a great fit for our small corporate and SMB customers, where billing and technical support is owned by the partner. Now, with the seat-based offers that are landing on the breadth motion on new commerce platform, as you're aware, we have some policy and capability changes. To the right here, we have our enterprise motion working directly with Microsoft, mainly our more strategic customers, probably higher revenue, more complex concession requirements, and usually with on-prem products. Now, under enterprise, we still have our legacy EA, all three clouds, but not on the new commerce platform. And then if it's Azure, we have enterprise new commerce MCA motion for direct commercial customers only at this stage. We are targeting indirect, so public sector, education, FY23 plus. So the enterprise direct motion under New Commerce is negotiated and transacted directly with the Microsoft account team. Where the legacy EA is transacted with an LSP, this motion is transacted internally by a Microsoft account team. Partners can still attach to this motion with value-added solutions or services, so co-sell ops, so really monetizing opportunities directly with the customer. So once the New Commerce experience is fully baked, we will be looking at retiring our legacy EAs. Due to the complexity we have created with our legacy EAs, we are a few years off that though. So again, I've left self-service off this slide, but this is a view of the two worlds we're going to be living in for a while as we transition between our older volume licensing models and the New Commerce experience. We are looking at a 5+ year journey, and as the New Commerce experience evolves, we will be bringing in additional segments of customers such as education, public sector, non-for-profit, expand into indirect markets and introduce more products and services into the new way we buy. So seat-based offers. Okay, so I just want to recap the journey on New Commerce to date. In 2019, the Azure plan was made available in the New Commerce experience, and in 2020, perpetual software was launched and made available to be transacted through the New Commerce experience in CSP. Now, we're now going to be focusing on the seat-based offers as they become available or have become available in the New Commerce experience. So for that's Modern Work, Dynamics 365 and Power Platform, and also Windows 365. So which was publicly announced to Breadth New Commerce on the 20th of August and was made available to transact last week, 14th of October. So we are starting with a technical or soft release, and January 2022 will roll out the full experience. I've got a bit of background. Okay, so I just want to get some context and see where we are today with the CSP billing platforms. Now we have two billing platforms. We have Legacy and we have New Commerce. And we have new Azure Plan, RIs, SaaS offers, service subscriptions, perpetual license or perpetual L-only licenses, all billed under the New Commerce platform. And then under Legacy, we have Windows, M365 Power Platform, Dynamics 365, and the old Azure offer being billed against the Legacy platform. So there is a difference in these platforms from an invoice perspective. So with Legacy, it centers around the partner billing date, and the partner is invoiced for the 28 to 30 days leading up to that date. And with New Commerce, the billing platform is around a calendar month, with invoices available to customers by the 6th and 8th of the month. Now, with the seat-based offers, they will be available to be billed through the New Commerce experience from last week, from October the 14th. And this is going to be result in a consolidated billing platform. Now, when we look at our subscriptions and how they work in CSP today, these offers, so Windows, Office, M365 Power Platform, they are billed on a 12-month subscription or available on a 12-month subscription, whereas our Dynamics 365 is available on a 12 or 36-month subscription. And today there is no enforcement of the subscription term in the legacy billing platform. So we'll move forward and see how that's now going to change in New Commerce. So I'm sure you're very familiar with this slide as well. We are introducing 3 subscription lengths in CSP New Commerce, a 1-month, 12-month, and a 36-month subscription. Now, the purpose of the 1-month subscription is to enable a customer to change the number of licenses that they require from month to month. They will be approximately 20% more expensive than the monthly price for an annual subscription. Then we have the 12-month subscription, much as it is in CSP today, and represents the regular commitment with the same monthly or upfront billing options. And last, we have the 36-month subscription. The purpose of that is to really enable a customer to gain some predictability with pricing that remains the same for the duration of the subscription. So from a partner perspective, though, you can choose to be billed monthly, annually, or upfront. We will be introducing two promos, so running from January to June 2022, a promo on the 1 month and a promo on the 12 month. The exact promo percentages are yet to be confirmed. We should find out in the next few weeks. Now, the promos mentioned were initially planned for October, last Thursday, 14th, but we realise that partners need time to implement changes and ensure successful adoption. So the promos have been pushed out to January 2022 to give you more time. Any questions yet? No? Oh, yeah, so and before I move on, in the middle here shows the product versus when it will be available on the term offer. And just remember the promos kick in January 2022. So if we took M365 for an example, it's available on the 1 month and 12 month subscription term on the 14th of October, so last week, but the 36-month alpha will be launched in March next year. So some of the admin capabilities we need to become familiar with. So we have pause, cancellation, and auto renew. So starting with pause, it's pausing a subscription, which is effectively a state of alert. So it's kind of similar to the legacy platform notion of suspension, but with pausing, the partner continues to be billed while the subscription goes into suspended status. So this is where users can't access anything or use the service, but admins have access to the data. So partners can use this if the customer hasn't paid their bill, for example, so it gets their attention, and at the right time, you can go and unpause the subscription to make it active again. So pause is kind of on-off. You pause it, it goes into suspended status with only admins able to access the stuff, and then when ready, you can unpause and everyone can access everything again. Cancellation is a bit more final. It is aimed at scenarios where the wrong product has been ordered and a partner will receive a prorated refund in the first 72 hours of cancellation. The subscription goes into disabled status, and it's important here that the cancellation can't be reversed. And then lastly, we've got auto renew. So this can be on or off. It's on as default and means that the subscription will automatically renew at the end of its term, and at which point the 72-hour cancellation period restarts. If it's off, it doesn't auto-renew and enters an expired status. And when the subscription comes to an end, it enters disabled status at that point. So it's very similar to the what happens to my subscription when it goes into extended term. So it's a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day before it's just deprovisioned. We have introduced a cancellation policy, so partners can cancel within the first 72 hours of term, but after the first 72 hours of term, there's no cancellation available and no prorated refund for annual term if paid up front. And the partner is billed for the full term if monthly billing is chosen. Now, the cancellation policy is to help ensure that customers really commit to the entire term benefit from the better pricing of long-term subscriptions. So it also ensures return of investment in providing subscription support, services and billing. So really ensuring the ROI or monetizing your value-added solutions with the customer. Now, this cancellation policy also brings CSP in line with other Microsoft subscription programs where there is no refund practice. I think you'll find that on the webinar on the 16th of November, they will cover more on the cancellation policy as well. Now here I wanted to try commitment term versus payment term. I wanted to try and highlight the difference between commitment versus payment terms and try to highlight as simply as possible that there is no relationship between commitment term and payment terms. So just because we will have an annual commitment that can't be cancelled within the year, and 36-month commitments, does not mean that the customer or partners have to pay annually for them. The partner still has the option to pay monthly, regardless of what the commitment term is. So there's no relationship between the commitment term and payment term. Customers making annual or 36-month commitments can still opt for monthly billing, and partners own the payment term decision. So even if a customer decides or opts to pay you annually or upfront, the partner can still elect to pay Microsoft monthly. Now, as mentioned, part of the new commerce experience for CSP, there will be a special launch webinar and live Q&A on what CSP partners need to know about the release of seat-based offers. Was scheduled for tomorrow, but has now been pushed out to 16th of November. So encourage you to, if you've already registered, you should have got an updated Outlook calendar invite. If you haven't seen that, I would encourage you to go and re-register. Okay, so just to recap on some key dates that we need to know about, the 14th, or we already know about, 14th of October was the launch of the seat-based new commerce offers and partner incentives for new commerce and transactions. On the 16th of November, we have the special launch webinar. And then on January, we know that seat-based offers are available in new commerce experience, and that there will also be promos available. In March next year, there will be a 36-month subscription available, and new purchase renewals for seat-based offers will only be available in new commerce experience. So that's part of the phase one of the legacy. We're also hoping to bring in multi-geo add-ons and other offers and terms in March next year. In June next year, we will see the end of the promos that were launched in January. And then in October next year, incentives only will be available for new commerce experience transactions. There's some great partner resources and links available to you, so really encourage you to review and become familiar with them. Continue to register and attend the monthly CSP Spotlight webinars. Louise Ulrich will be covering seat-based offers moving forward in her webinars as well. Also in the partner resource, we have a level 100 and level 200 deck and a document detailing several subscription management scenarios and, of course, our infamous FAQ. Okay, so how am I going for time, all right?
Yep, we've got about 10, 12 minutes.
5 minutes?
Oh, 12 minutes.
12 minutes, okay. Yeah. I better talk quick. Okay, so an update on Windows 365. So one of the most important announcements recently made was the Windows 365 Cloud PC, which will stream the full Windows experience to a user's device. Now, per user month pricing available in 2 editions. We have Business and Enterprise, available on Breadth or CSP New Commerce on the 14th of October, and also available in Web Direct. It's also available on our legacy EA as well. Now, we can see up the top of this table that Windows 365 was made available to purchase through various licensing options in August and September, and under Breadth CSP New Commerce in October, where it will be offered as a monthly subscription, which will match the annual subscription monthly price without the 20% premium. So this is the only product to which this fact applies. Now, the difference between enterprise and business. So business is provisioned and managed through the web and has a license maximum of 300, where enterprise is managed through Endpoint Manager. But with both of these editions, customers can choose 12 different compute storage configurations, which is obviously going to determine the price depending on what they choose. Now, this is the site where customers can go to choose the different configurations. And as they choose the configuration, the text on the right-hand side changes to indicate the workloads that the chosen cloud PC would be good for. Choosing the right cloud PCs. So when a customer chooses one CPU, cloud PC, this is ideal to support the web versions of the Office apps. When they choose two CPU, this will support the desktop versions of the Office apps and Teams. And 4 and 8 are for workloads which are more resource intensive, with support for products like Visual Studio, Power BI, and Dynamics 365. There are some prerequisites for buying Windows 365 Enterprise. This is the text from our product terms. But first of all, when we decipher our product terms, if you have Microsoft 365 licenses, so F3, E3, E5, Business Premium, you can purchase Windows 365 Enterprise. Alternatively, if you have a Windows 10 Enterprise E3, E5 license, as well as Intune and AADP1, you're also eligible. Final combination is when you don't have a device with a qualifying operating system, you will need a VDA E3, E5 license and the Intune and AADP1 licenses. There are no prerequisites for business. However, Windows 365 is eligible for Windows Hybrid Benefit License Assignment, and the prerequisite is that it needs a device license with Windows 10 Pro to be eligible to purchase it. Now, this is important, as in CSP partners must attest that they understand the rules when transacting these SKUs. Again, we have a lot of resources on Windows 365, so I would encourage you to go and review them, become familiar with them. And it's probably about all I'm going to cover on Windows 365. There's a lot more to delve into there. So moving to OpenL software licenses and CSP program. So this is another change towards the simplification of cross-licensing programs and really continuing to invest in the new commerce experience. Now, we want to ensure that partners are ready to transact perpetual L only under CSP if they aren't already by the end of December this year, 2021, as this is when the open license program completely retires. So that's the program that's in the red box here. So as at 1st of January 2022, partners, customers can no longer purchase under open license. And just emphasising that it's open license we're retiring, not open value or open value subscription. Customers will continue to have the full rights to the perpetual licenses under the purchase under the open license program until January 1st, 2022, so T-minus 2 months now. Customers with the assistance of their partner can continue to purchase through the OpenL program. Or if a customer requires LNSA or software, then they can repurchase that under Open Value or Open Value subscription, or if there's any other Microsoft program that will support it, programmatically support it. Probably don't need to go into that other than probably it's important to note that license-only perpetual software acquired through the CSP program does not include software assurance and therefore does not enable Azure Hybrid Benefit. The perpetual L products available on CSP are desktop tools, infrastructure, and productivity servers, and we will continue to expand the catalogue as well. There's some key milestones and dates that apply to open license program. So, in July this year, government SKU price is the same as a commercial SKU in open program. Government customers are supposed to start or should be buying commercial SKUs in open and CSP. Academic and non-profit software perpetual SKUs were launched in CSP. 1st of September, Windows Server, we had some products increases for Windows Server RDS and SQL. 1st of October, Office Client M365 prices were increased in the Open program. The new version of Windows 7 Office Client will not be released in Open program, and customers buying from the Open program will receive old versions compared if they went to CSP. 1st of November, all other SKUs in the Open program will be increased by 5%, and 31st of December 2021, the Open program will retire. So I just really wanted to quickly, I know I'm going to run out of time, but I wanted to cover legacy Azure versus new Azure plan. So under breadth, we have running side by side 2 Azure Office, so legacy and new Azure plan, and the new Azure plan is on the new commerce platform. Now we're in a 3-phased approach to retire the legacy plan, and the first phase took place 21st of July this year, whereby new CSP customers can only purchase the new Azure plan. Existing customers can continue to purchase legacy if they wish. However, CSP partners will be affected by phase 2 if they do so. And this is where we would ask that you move your CSP Azure customers to the new Azure plan before February 2022, because that is when we will be removing margins and incentives. There is a link here that explains the automated tooling to move customers through Partner Center, which I think is relatively easy. The new Azure plan is aligned across all the new commerce sales motions. So for New Zealand, that is currently breadth, so CSP new commerce. In terms of availability, both Office, so legacy Azure and new Azure plan, allow the use of Azure Lighthouse tools and support reservations and marketplace offers. The new things for the new Azure plan are graduated pricing, so the more of a service such as storage you purchase, the cheaper the unit prices. And then we have the Azure cost management tool. So this is where you can show your customers cost and usage patterns with advanced analytics, including cost and usage, reserve instance, and AHub use benefit. So in the new commerce experience for Azure, we have moved to a consistent global pricing as well, where all Azure consumption and purchases are in USD dollars. So for customers and geos that transact in one of our supported non-USD local currencies like ANZ, will continue to pay their bills like they do today in their local currency. We aggregate the spend first in USD dollars, apply a monthly exchange rate, and that customer's total bill is in their local currency then. And there are 3 reasons why we've actually taken this approach. It moves us and our Microsoft and our customers away from historically and infrequent and those unpredictable pricing resets to local currency prices that we've seen in the past. So we can really now avoid surprising our customers when these big changes happen. If you think of an EA renewal, during that term there might be a price increase, the EA expires, and we hit them with this rather large price increase. So it's providing predictability. It's also moving to a consistent global pricing around the world really ensures a fair landscape for all our customers. So it's easy for customers that may have a presence in multiple markets. So instead of wondering if their peers are getting a more favourable price simply based on where they live, they can be fairly confident that they're getting the same consistent and competitive pricing points. And finally, it really allows us to have a much more competitive pricing conversation versus our competitors like AWS or GPC, who are also priced globally in USD dollars. So looking at the partner economics, this represents at a glance what it looks like for a partner based on transacting legacy versus new Azure plan. If I just talk through the new Azure plan in the interest of time, the partner determines the price to the customer. The partner, if they gets PEC, partner earn credits, so that's circa 15% if they have admin on behalf of. They get a transacting fee of 4%. If they sell reservations, they get up to 10%. And then monetizing, you have the ability to monetize opportunities directly with your customer for services and value added. I don't know if you've seen this slide before, but it's a good representation of what the partner economics will look like based on the purchasing motions that will come into play in calendar year 2022. So under breadth here, we have the wholesale price, which is the new legal name for margin. There's the PEC up to 15%. You get your 4% transacting fee. If it's RIs up to 10%. And then monetizing opportunities directly with the customer through your value-added services. Then we have some threshold guidelines for partners to transact in for calendar year 2022, and the economics will be more favourable if you are transacting seat-based offers up to 2,400 seats, and if it's for consumption or Azure for Office for ACR up to $1 million annualized. I really like this slide because it provides a really holistic view which conveys the partner thresholds or economics. So these thresholds are a change to what we first introduced in October, November last year, and based on partner feedback at various forums, we increased the thresholds. So these guidelines will come into play in calendar year 2022. I'm not sure exactly when. I believe it might be March, but that's yet to be determined or confirmed. And if I just walk through the seat-based offers, a partner sells up to 2,400 seats. You are invoiced at wholesale price, which is your margin, and you will receive your partner incentives above the tipping point or above that 2,400 seats. So if you sold 2,450, those 50 seats will be billed at ERP, and then no more programmatic incentives. For consumption offers, for Azure, $1 million per annum. You get PEC, you get your incentives, and above the tipping point, so above 1 million. You still get PEC, but no programmatic incentives for increased revenue above that. And what corporate are proposing to do is to, if I go back up to here, to the per product groups, they are looking at product groups by solution areas, which roll up to that 2,400 seats. And really just to end, we have stay current. I'll leave you with some partner resources to enable you to stay current. Highly recommend you attend the monthly CSP Spotlight and calls if you don't already. Another recommendation would be the New Commerce and CSP for Azure, very short, informative modules. And then, of course, join the CSP community forums if you don't belong already. We also have CSP onboarding if you're new to CSP or have new starters, some resources to help them as well. And that's my end. I'm sure I've got some questions.
Yeah, thanks so much, Christine, for your overview. People, feel free to don't be shy. Feel free to come off mute or throw your questions into the chat, and we can go through them. We have about 6 minutes until time, so yeah, plenty of questions and time for questions.
There's been a couple of questions in the chat here, guys. Look, obviously a lot of content to cover. Some of you this might be new to. We did cover this last week in a small session, and of course our CSP providers have been running them as well. I would encourage you, everyone, unless you're a CSP direct partner, which is only a very, very small number in New Zealand, I would encourage all of you to work with your CSP provider on how they're implementing the new changes and how that impacts you and your customers. The go live for this, just to reiterate, for the new commerce experience is March next year. And there has been some conversation in the chat here, which thank you to Nick as well that answered a couple of questions, including from his own folk in his own business. Thanks for that, Nick. And I'll just try and clarify if there was any kind of questions in here. But one of the ones I think there was a couple of points on, and I see Joe, you've mentioned something about it. I haven't read your comment, but if under new commerce experience, everything is a 12-month subscription. That is what we've moved to online. In fact, there was a question on that. So if you buy with a credit card today, if you take our current base price or the lowest price, it is a 12-month subscription, and we will charge you if you cancel within, let's say, 6-month point. So that happens today, unless you want to go to a month-by-month flexible motion, which has been online for many years, and that's what we're introducing with CSP. In terms of the partner transition, so if a customer stopped paying you as a partner, you have the ability to suspend their services to try and recoup that money from them and enforce on them the importance of paying. But they could, in theory, go to another partner and spin up a new subscription. But we will continue to charge you for that subscription that's live. Now, some of you are probably, as I'm talking about this, and maybe as you've been listening, probably thinking, well, hang on, that seems quite harsh on the partner. Just be aware that we have had lots of feedback on it, and we have raised that up to various folk offshore as well, and we'll see how that pans out and see if there's new models that are brought in. I understand that there'll be something on the platform that'll be built that will allow partner transition as well. So if someone wants to just switch from one partner to another, that will happen, or will be possible at some point in the future as well. So.
Yeah, and again, really encourage you to attend the webinar that's on the 16th of November. It's your opportunity to ask difficult questions with Corp and be the voice of the partner. And I would imagine that, because it's been moved to the 16th of November, they may have some more updates for us by then as well.
Yeah.
But I'll have a look through the chat and come back on questions.
I think we've pretty much covered most of it. Feel free to come off mute though, guys, if you want to ask questions. Happy to stay on for longer. Actually, I'll put a link as well. We're going to share this deck, of course.
Yeah.
We always put this deck in the recording onto Yammer, but you can find all of the modern commerce, new commerce content at this link here, which I'll just drop in the chat. So as I grab it, you do need to sign in. You need to sign into the Microsoft Partner Network to access these documents, but there's the level 100, level 200 guides, there's the FAQ, there's a customer ready messaging guide, there's readiness roadmaps, there's huge amounts of stuff on here, links to the licensing webinars and spotlight calls. Yeah, so all the stuff that Christine covered today is up on that site that I've just posted as well.
Cool. If there are no more questions, feel free to touch base with the team one-to-one. I'm sure they'll be happy to help. And yeah, this will be going onto Yammer within 24 to 48 hours. And I think one thing that I'd like to kind of put in advance is if you have any topics or things that you'd like to cover for our final webinar of the year next month, then please feel free to either drop some suggestions into the chat throughout the next few weeks, or to touch base with me personally, and then I can see what people I can garner to kind of make sure you're getting the most out of the final one for the year. But otherwise, I really look forward to seeing everyone in November. Take care. And thanks, everyone.
Will you have a Christmas theme?
Well, it depends if we're still in lockdown. I'll
True.
might have to. But yeah, thanks to everyone who is joining, but also to our speakers today. So Paul, Christine, and also.
Yeah, thanks for joining. Much appreciated. As always, we're always here to help. So if you've got broader queries, reach out to us as individuals, or you can always email nzpartner@microsoft.com, and I'll drop that in the chat as well.
Cool. Thanks, team. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.